You walk past 300 people before lunch. You don't look at a single one of them. Your eyes slide past their faces like they're furniture. A woman holds the elevator. You mumble thanks and stare at the floor numbers. This is normal. This is what a city trains you to do. But your brain wasn't built for this. It was built for a world where every face belonged to someone you knew. For nearly all of human history, you lived in a group of about 150 people. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar studied primate brain size against social group size and found a striking pattern. The bigger the neocortex, the bigger the group a species can hold in mind. For humans, that ceiling lands around 150. Not a guess, a cognitive limit. Your ancestors lived inside that number their whole lives. Every face was known. A stranger simply didn't exist in their world. If someone new appeared at camp, it meant something. Danger, or trade, or war. Nothing about a new face was neutral. Now think about your commute this morning. Hundreds of new faces. All meaningless, technically. But your brain doesn't know that. It's still running the old software. Every unfamiliar face triggers a flicker of ancient threat assessment. Multiply that by 300 faces, 5 days a week, for years. You are surrounded by more people than any human in history. And you have never felt more alone. This isn't a coincidence. It has a mechanism. In the 1930s, the sociologist Louis Wirth described what city life does to the mind. He called it a blasé attitude, a numbness that isn't coldness so much as self-defense. Faced with more contact than it can process, your mind doesn't expand. It shuts a door. It treats most faces as scenery, because treating them as people would be unbearable. That numbness isn't a flaw, it's protection. But protection has a cost, and the cost is connection. The psychologist John Cacioppo spent his career studying loneliness as a biological state, not just a feeling. He found chronic loneliness raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, weakens immune function in ways comparable to smoking. Your body treats isolation as a physical threat, because for most of history, it was one. Cacioppo also found something stranger. Loneliness isn't about how many people surround you, it's about how many truly see you. You can be lonely in a packed room. The body doesn't count heads, it counts bonds. And a subway car full of strangers contains, for your nervous system, roughly zero of what it's actually looking for. Think about that word, stranger. It didn't always mean what it means now. For most of history, a stranger was rare enough to be remarkable. Today, a stranger is the default. You've inverted the category completely. No wonder something in you stays on alert, low and constant, like a hum you've stopped noticing. The political scientist Robert Putnam tracked a steady decline in the group life that used to turn strangers into neighbors. Bowling leagues, church groups, civic clubs. The scaffolding that once knit unfamiliar faces into familiar ones has been quietly dismantled, not by any single choice, just by the accumulated weight of convenience. Without that scaffolding, strangers stay strangers. You can live beside someone for a decade and never learn their name. Your ancestors would have found this incomprehensible. To them, proximity was intimacy. To you, it's just geography. So what do you do with this? You don't need a village of 150. You don't need to abandon the city. But you can notice the hum, the low flicker every unfamiliar face triggers, and know it's ancient, not personal. You can do something smaller. Nod at the barista who remembers your order. Learn the name in the next apartment. Each act turns one stranger back into a face, and your nervous system, still running that ancient software, notices immediately. This is why small talk with the same barista, the same dog walker, feels disproportionately good. To the oldest part of your brain, it's the beginning of a tribe. A face moves from unknown to known. Cortisol drops slightly. Something loosens, in a way you'd never attribute to 2 seconds about the weather. Multiply that by a year of the same small acknowledgements, and you build something resembling, in miniature, what your ancestors had by default. You don't need all 300 faces to matter. You never did. Your ancestors didn't recognize 300 people either. They recognized enough. Enough turns out to be a smaller number than a city lets you believe. Cities didn't make you lonely by accident. They asked your ancient brain to process a volume of faces it was never built to hold. And your mind did the only thing it could. It went numb. That numbness kept you sane. It also kept you isolated. You walk past 300 people before lunch. You don't look at a single one of them, but now you know why. And now, maybe, you look up at one.